Hi, my name is Winnie. Welcome to my life's journey. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And from my last video where I talked about the mother wound, I promised to talk about the father wound as well. And the reason why these two topics are very important to me is because I never even realized this is what, I was going through when I found myself in a place where I couldn't make some decisions. I struggled with some things. And of course, I had to dig deeper. And for me, this has been a very personal journey. And of course, if in case these are not things you've gone through, please feel free to share with your family and friends who could benefit from this. And of course, I just want to say that whatever I share here is not a substitute for therapy. In fact, I always encourage people to seek therapy because in therapy, a professional will be able to help you to understand your own emotions and your own feelings. This is just general information. Relates to that wound that a child gets when the father is absent, both emotionally and physically. Either emotionally or physically, or both. All right. So a father who also was very critical, so present but very critical, negative, abusive, impacts our relationships. Later in life, we don't realize how we just feel like we're struggling to form relationships, whether romantic, friendships, and all that, of course. And also fathers who are always tired and in a bad mood, always reading newspapers. They're really there physically, but emotionally they're not there. That can also potentially affect a child. Yeah. And of course, we understand, let me just say this, a father can be absent due to so many reasons, and one of them is neglect. We've heard of deadbeat dads. So a father can decide not to be available by saying that is not my child, I will not take responsibility for that pregnancy. What will happen is that child will grow with a father wound. And then we will also see that a father can be absent due to divorce, separation. Yeah. So when sometimes when grown-ups have a marriage and then they get to a place where things are not working out and they decide to call it quits and they divorce or separate, that will affect the child because physically both parents may not be available for them. Yeah. And again, the other way, of course, absence can happen is when there is death. So when we lose our parents at a young age, what happens is we are likely to have a father wound. Yeah, because we will miss what we never had. We will always wish, I wish my father was here. I mean, I've met so many people who say, I wish my father was with me. I got to a place where I was saying that, like I wish my father was there when I was a child. And of course, sometimes also the father can be absent due to abuse. You may be having an alcoholic father who maybe is abusive. So when they come and they're drunk and they say bad things, so they're not there, they're not supporting you emotionally, and they're also causing you pain, by maybe the abuse they're telling you, whether it's verbal, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, because there are fathers who beat their children. They just know. Because when I think of my uncles, you see, I didn't have my own father, but when I remember about my uncles, they would just somehow know that their work was to discipline children. I don't know why that was like that. I don't know if any of you has had the same experience as me. I remember an uncle of mine who was very, mean and very, violent. I mean, and at that point, I think the mothers were just thinking, my aunties, they were just thinking, it's okay, this is how a father disciplines a child. But she was not disciplined. It was more of that father is in a bad mood, and it was crazy. And then again, when we have a father can be absent when they're controlling. There are those fathers who are very controlling and very oppressive. Whatever they say goes. You cannot talk to them. You cannot, wakikohoa mnaitika. Those fathers. Yes, I also have experienced people like that in our family because there are people who just know how to be oppressive, controlling, shout. When they call you, there's trouble. And that was not my grandfather. My grandfather, it was very different, especially for me. So, but I'm just saying across my family, when I look at my uncles, when I look at, even some of my cousins and all that, when I just look across the family, there were people who were very controlling and very oppressive. Well, they're still there anyway. And then there are also these fathers who like to withhold love, those fathers who say, I have to be a father, and, withholding love, withholding affirmation. Even if you're number one, they will never tell you you've done well. Those parents, that can also cause a father wound, And how then do you know that you have a father wound? What are the symptoms? that show you may have a father wound. So that's it about the father wound. Next week I'll be talking about the signs. How do you know that you have a father wound? How do you know that you have a father wound? So please stay with me, share this video with someone who you feel this will benefit, and God bless you, and see you soon. Bye.